Unfortunately, we went through that on the first day, but I think there's some things I know that we've learned in our community.
A shaky first week back to school for several districts in central Indiana due to coronavirus. Right now at 5, the latest on the changing plans for the future.
Don't delay coming to the hospital if you need to come to the hospital. We're going to take care of you. We're going to keep you safe.
RTV6 is learning that patients who are not battling COVID-19 may be avoiding the ER out of fear. Tonight, the reassuring words from doctors.
Starting today, some IMPD officers will begin wearing body cameras. We'll show you how the program works and tell you what community members have to say about it.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Now at 5, watching the radar this afternoon as heavy rain and thunderstorms move across central Indiana.
We are all in the studio this afternoon, but social distancing. Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is here to fill us in on what's ahead tonight. Kevin, we already could hear the rain in our downtown studio here.
Rain, lots of thunder and lightning, all-out downpours. We're not having severe storms, but they grab your attention. Here's a heavy downpour on the southeast side of Indianapolis, which continues right now. Kyle Mount's sharing that video, and I'll just show you how we are a county divided. If you're on the east side of Indianapolis, all the way toward Greenfield, torrential rainfall that goes up towards McCordsville, Castleton, Geist, Fortville area, and then down to Greenwood. That's moving to the east. We'll slide down here, State Road 46 between Bloomington and Nashville. Heavy rainfall that goes down then toward Lake Monroe and over the southern hills of Brown County. You'll get heavy rainfall, could pick up an inch or more. Notice how quickly it drops off to the west. All of this is moving to the east, and the next couple of hours we'll continue to have these downpours, especially south and east of Indy. 68, that's the impact of the rain in Indy, while it's 80 in Peru. Between 7 and 9. Everything shifting to the east. By 11, we're calming down. We'll talk about what this means for the rest of the work week coming up.
And after several schools experienced COVID-19 difficulties within the first week of opening last week, RTV6 is asking the state if they will be providing more guidance to schools on how to keep students and staff safe. Our Stephanie Wade is speaking with one school district tonight that had a COVID-19 case within the first day.
A shaky first week back to school for several school districts here in central Indiana, the very night after students returned back to school here in Greenfield. The superintendent emailed parents notifying them that a student did indeed come to school that day, later testing positive for the coronavirus.
You know, it's been a race all summer just getting prepared for it. And if you'd have asked me at noon how things had gone on day one, I told you it had been almost a perfect start. To get that news in the afternoon created some anxiety, some disappointment.
That afternoon on day one, the Hancock County Health Department called Greenfield Central Schools to tell them that a student at the junior high had tested positive for the coronavirus after getting tested a few days prior. They isolated the student, then identified through seating charts who was closest to them, and notified those families to quarantine for 14 days as well. Greenfield, just one of the districts to have a positive COVID case within the first week. Some wishing for more guidance from the state, as the Department of Education largely left their guidelines and recommendations up to the local health departments and school districts. In this ever-changing environment, the threshold for Greenfield Central Schools, Dr. Harold Olin says,
it's not a number of cases specifically. If our attendance rate reaches an alarming rate, we could certainly consider moving everyone to a virtual environment. We will have conversation with the local health department if our attendance rate drops below 90%.
In Greenfield, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
And the state health department tells RTV6 it is not tracking COVID-19 cases in schools right now. There is also no requirement for schools to have their COVID-19 safety plans approved by the state, but the DOE says they are required to update their continuous learning plans. The DOE plans on holding a press briefing this week to update us further. And we learned today of a second positive case of a COVID-19 a New Palestine high school student in Hancock County. This follows the positive case involving a football player that families learned of Friday. A school spokesperson said the two cases are unrelated. School and health officials in Hancock County say the students showed up for the first day of school today after their physician gave them a wrong quarantine end date. The student tested positive several days ago. The student did wear a mask and was isolated, along with a small number of close contacts. Those families have been notified. Southern Hancock schools began the school year in person today, and school will proceed as usual tomorrow.
A big change today for students in Washington Township and Marion County. They are still attending class online until further notice, but the school board voted this morning to allow sports to begin. Sports had previously been canceled by the board. Today's vote allows sports to begin in grades 6 through 12. This decision came after North Central High School students and their families asked the board to reconsider its previous decision prohibiting athletics during virtual learning. Now to the numbers driving decisions by educators and state and city leaders. The state reported 582 additional positive cases today, recorded between Friday and yesterday. The statewide total is 68,433. The overall positivity rate is 8.8%, down just slightly from several days last week. The state also reported 5 more Hoosiers have died from COVID-19. Those deaths occurring Saturday and Sunday. The statewide total is now 2,780. As of today, more than 39% of the ICU beds and nearly 85% of ventilators in hospitals around the state are available. Of the ICU beds and ventilators in use, most are being used for non-COVID patients. Tonight, doctors at local hospitals say they're noticing an unsettling trend. An ER surgeon tells RTV6 it seems people are avoiding coming in for issues unrelated to COVID-19. As RTV6's Troy Washington reports, doctors believe that could lead to more dire health issues.
RTV6 talked with Dr. Ashley Meager just as she was getting home from a 24-hour shift working as a trauma and acute care surgeon.
There has been an increased number of people avoiding the hospital, and to the point where they wait until they're so sick that it's really hard for us to take care of them.
At first, Phyllis Schooler says she was hesitant about checking out the sudden pain she started to feel seemingly out of nowhere.
I woke up Wednesday morning and I was experiencing some pain on my lower right side of my abdomen. I've never had a problem with my appendix in the past. And I said, oh my goodness, I hope this is not my appendix.
She waited only a day before she couldn't take it any longer and decided to see her doctor for guidance.
I did the virtual appointment and I was laying on my bed when I did it with my doctor, Dr. Amadou, and she was telling me where to press, and she could see with, from my laptop, and she was telling me she was thinking it was my appendix. And she asked me, will you please, is there someone that can take you, go to the nearest emergency room?
Do you worry about if you would have waited any longer? Because there are a lot of people who are waiting and things are getting so bad by the time that they go in, it's a worse situation.
I just thank God that I did not wait.
Dr. Meager says Schooler is exactly right. Turns out it was her appendix and it could have burst if it wasn't removed right away. The surgeon says don't wait if something is wrong, and if you need medication, don't delay taking care of that either.
I know that the pharmacies such as CVS and Walgreens, many of them have drive-ups, and you can drive up and do a no-touch pickup of your medications. So really stay on top of refilling medications.
Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Well, doctors stress it's so important to keep things like diabetes, blood pressure, and heart disease in check. They say neglecting any of those could lead to worse COVID symptoms.
It is a big day for IMPD as some officers are now wearing body cameras, as you can see here. The department started rolling out the new program today. It's another step forward for the department as they work to increase transparency and accountability with the public. RTV6's Megan Sanctorum reports.
It's a project that's been years in the making, and starting today, IMPD officers are being outfitted with body cameras. These are the cameras all IMPD officers will wear as they respond to 911 calls and interact with the public. They zip into the officer's uniform so they can't be knocked off, and they include technology that will automatically start recording whenever an officer is dispatched to a call, turns on their lights and siren, begins running, or reaches for a weapon on their holster. Many community members and organized groups like Indy 10, Black Lives Matter, have been calling on the city to implement a body camera program.
Body cameras are ways for us to increase accountability, hopefully, for our local police department. We want to see what they see. We want to see the interactions from beginning to end and not an edited version of what it is that they're attempting to give to the public.
Footage from the camera will be uploaded in real time to the cloud, so nobody will be able to alter or delete the footage. Video will then be stored for 190 days per state mandate. The camera implementation comes as IMPD also recently updated their use of force policy, and they also banned no-knock warrants. Chief Randall Taylor says this is another step forward for the department.
Now, body-worn camera program is certainly no cure-all. It represents a significant investment in the type of police department we strive to be.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
And the department hopes to train and outfit 10 officers per day. They are starting on the East District and hope to have all officers trained and outfitted with cameras by November. For more info and a demonstration on how the cameras work, head to theindychannel.com.
Now just ahead here on RTV6, it's quite the sight to see on a major Indianapolis roadway, but it's not quite dry yet. The latest on the street mural project and when the avenue is expected to reopen. Plus, the new push to put more officers on the roads to zero in on a child safety issue. Even in this time of uncertainty, it is still the law to stop for school buses, and police are driving that message home. We explain how.
And the forecast focus on these downpours, but for how long? And wait till you see what follows the rain.
Negotiations on a new coronavirus relief bill between Democrats and Republicans are proving to be challenging, not just for the lawmakers who are still far apart on a deal, but for the tens of millions of Americans desperately in need of help. Critical unemployment benefits have expired and bills are coming due. Now, ABC's Andrew Dimbert is following the latest stimulus developments from Washington, D.C.
Talks on coronavirus economic relief resume, but lawmakers have yet to strike a deal, while tens of millions of out-of-work Americans are facing difficult decisions.
We are out here drowning. We are struggling.
Here's where things stand on Capitol Hill. House Democrats passed a $3 trillion stimulus package in May, which would include extending the $600 weekly supplemental unemployment aid into 2021 and provide billions in rent relief. The White House and Senate Republicans are pushing for a $1 trillion price tag while slashing the $600 supplement to a 70% income-driven model, along with giving American households another round of $1,200 stimulus checks. Both sides still seem worlds apart.
We just still haven't come to agreement. We started this March 4th.
As negotiations grind along slowly, time is a luxury many struggling Americans just don't have. Eviction protections have expired, and according to data collected by the U.S. Census Bureau, more than 23 million Americans reporting they have slight or no confidence in their ability to make this month's rent.
I'm completely scared and frightened because I don't want to become homeless.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has also made it clear Democrats demand big money for state and local governments in the next round of relief.
We really need to support state and local governments to cover the expenses they have from the coronavirus.
They want to bail out cities and states. They want bailout money.
While a priority for Republicans is giving more school aid to districts that are restarting in-class learning, even as health experts caution that schools in COVID-19 hotspots should delay reopening.
I do think schools can open, but not in communities with large amounts of spread and not without really vigorous planning.
And there are some major points where Democrats and Republicans already agree, including cutting another round of stimulus checks for individuals and families, as well as changes to the Paycheck Protection Program to help struggling businesses. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
Many Hoosiers need jobs right now, and our Hiring Hoosiers initiative continues to keep you informed of job opportunities of all kinds. And today we learned that a company in Plainfield has about 100 jobs to fill. Pro Logistics is hosting a drive-through job fair for Meritor on Wednesday. They are looking for people to work in the warehouse as well as forklift drivers. All shifts are available. Pay ranges from $12 to $17 an hour. The drive-through job fair is Wednesday from 10 until 2 at 849 Whitaker Road, in Plainfield.
Indiana Avenue will remain closed for a bit longer to allow a weekend art project with a message that can't be missed to dry fully. Indianapolis has joined the growing list of cities with major streets that carry the words Black Lives Matter. The City County Council approved the project. It's a sign of solidarity that we've seen across the country since the death of George Floyd. We flew our drone over the completed project today, and it is a colorful sight. Each artist took a letter and was allowed to paint it however he or she wanted. This stretch is near the Madam Walker Legacy Center and the Indianapolis Urban League headquarters. The street will be closed through Thursday. RTV6 also wants to help continue the important conversation on race that has started in this country. Starting tomorrow, RTV6 and our partners at Radio 1 will host a series of discussions exploring racial issues, the recent protests, and civil unrest in central Indiana. They will take place every Tuesday this month at 5 p.m. on the RTV6 Facebook page. Diverse voices from the community will join in on the conversation. The first session is tomorrow, and it's titled The Why, Exploring the History of Race in Central Indiana. There may not be many kids on school buses this fall, but that doesn't mean that school bus safety is any less important. Governor Holcomb announced today that more than 200 police agencies around the state will be conducting extra patrols to make sure kids are safe as they get on and off the bus. Over the next couple of months, officers will be positioned along bus stops and routes looking for drivers who ignore bus stop arms and are driving dangerously. The overtime patrols are part of the state's Stop Arm Violation Enforcement Program. Officers will work with local school districts to identify problem areas where the highest number of violations occur. Last year, bus drivers reported more than 2,500 stop arm violations in just a single day.
Now to the forecast, and Kevin, we could hear the thunder rolling in right before the show started.
It's more of a nowcast, what's happening right now. Bloomington's had anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain in about the last 90 minutes. Just to show you, this is the view looking west of Indianapolis, a whole different story. To the west of the capital city, to the east, you've still got heavy downpours ongoing. Let's follow the lightning here. Now, not everyone is seeing rain, and not all of us will see rain over the next couple of hours. Let's zoom in. Bloomington, the heaviest rain has now cleared the area. It's on the county line between Brown and Monroe counties. Lake Monroe, everybody was forced off the water there, I'm sure, had to seek shelter. Heavy rain will roll through southern Brown County, Nashville, south all the way toward Bedford, Brownstown, and Seymour. This is the heavy rain that came through Indianapolis. We picked up a quick 1/4 inch in the RTV6 rain gauge from New Pal to Greenfield up to Anderson, Pendleton, and Muncie. That will continue to roll to the east. Where you have the rain, temperatures drop into the 60s in many spots, 69 in Greenfield, 68 in Columbus. Western and northwestern portions of the state warmer because you've not had recent rainfall. Temperatures will be stuck in the 60s this evening. It's possible we see a little fog as we go through the overnight, especially in areas that did get the downpours today. Notice what's not in the forecast. If we see any showers tomorrow, should be early in the day, then dry, dry, dry. And that's a nice trend with comfortable temperatures and more in the way of sunshine as well. Temperatures will be in the middle to upper 70s for highs, staying below average until we get to the end of the week. 7 a.m. You see the rain, Bloomington to Indy toward Muncie. Any spotty showers that develop will be just that. It's going to be a cooler north wind starting to bring in the drier air. Temperatures in the low 70s, about 73 as you get to 6 o'clock in the evening. There are the temperatures all of central Indiana for tomorrow, with more sunshine for the second half of the day. Wednesday, sunshine start to finish. Partly to mostly sunny through the day. Temperatures will be at 76 for the afternoon high. We're still on the mild side of high pressure through Wednesday. As we start to turn the corner and the high moves off to the east and the tropical storm is off the east coast, that will set the stage then for our warmer temperatures. Friday, 82 with the rain around. Saturday and Sunday with the rain not around. Saturday and Sunday, our chance for rain increases really late weekend into early next week. Let's show you the east side. This is I-465 and I-70. First thing you notice is how green that grass is at the intersection, and then it looks like plenty of water on the roadways. That'll be the main impact of some localized flooding from these heavy downpours. Mark?
Be careful out there on the roads at this hour. Thanks, Kevin. While some businesses have clearly taken a hit during the pandemic, there's one industry seeing a big boom. And that's why a blast from the past will be making a return.
Coming together to help each other out during the pandemic. It's happened countless times during the past few months, and another opportunity happens tomorrow with a free milk giveaway. Prairie Farms will be giving away milk again, this time in Hancock County at the county fairgrounds in Greenfield. This will happen tomorrow from 1 to 4 and Wednesday, August 19th from 8 a.m. until noon. Just drive through to get your fresh milk. And speaking of milk, the dairy industry has a familiar question for you. Got milk? 6 years after the popular phrase was retired, Got Milk ads are back. The dairy industry is reviving the campaign, hoping to prolong the U.S. sales boost milk has gone during the pandemic. From January through mid-July, milk sales were up 8.3% to $6.4 billion. During the same period last year, milk sales were down 2.3%. The dairy industry says kids are eating lunches at home and adults have more time for breakfast and cooking with milk.
Who knew it could be so much fun?
Look at that. I know. That's great. It's very entertaining.
Coming up here on RTV6, Indianapolis-based pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly takes the next step in developing a possible way to prevent COVID-19 in people. All new at 6 p.m. here, what we're learning about that effort.
Only doctors and nurses beyond that point. The new COVID-19 unit and the new ER opening here in Franklin. I'm Rafael Sanchez. That story coming up on RTV6.